It all started when I was born. I can't be funny yet. I have to wait. I have to save the funny.
Uh-huh. All right, so are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Uh, well, welcome to What Am Dreams. I am one of your hosts at the Ass Crack of Dawn, Tasha, and I'm here with,
Dustin.
hey, we're here to talk to you about dreams.
I'm in such a good mood today.
Are you?
Yes.
What happened today?
Oh, I just had a really good night at work.
Oh, sweet. Did you pick up some interesting folk?
No, not so much. I did pick up some people that I kid you not. I think that they took a bath in bong water before,
Oh, man.
because it's just my car currently reeks of weed. That actually might be why I'm in a good mood. I might be getting a contact high from just them.
Yeah.
What about you? How was sleep?
Sleep was not so good for me.
Uh
I went to sleep at like 11 and I kept waking up on and off. So I'm not feeling the best. Plus, also, I knocked out my bad knee Thursday when I was messing with my daughter, Alice, because we were like play fighting. And I
Yeah.
was like, I was like shuffling my feet across the floor. And I shuffled it just the wrong way to knock out my bad knee again. So I've been kind of like a little bedridden the past day and a half, so that's not fun. But I
That
was still
darn trick
excited about
knee
this
of yours.
podcast. And now it's all creaky. Like now it feels loose, but surely I'll be okay. Surely.
What do you expect when you get old? I
I
mean,
mean, I'm at just that age where throw away the whole knee.
hey, you hit 43 and everything just starts breaking.
Hey, whoa. Who's
Uh,
43, bucko?
you are.
No. I stopped
I'm the
aging
young
at
one
20.
here.
I stopped aging at 27. Thank you.
That was 15 years ago.
Oh man, it was
I'm
it
kidding.
was quite a long time ago. It wasn't 15, but was it
No.
15? Nope, I refuse to do the math. I'm
I
27.
think it was only 6 for you. Maybe 7. So
I am the young
you're still
age of
sick?
33. I'm a little bit sick, but I got a lot better. I just have the occasional cough, like the early morning hours, like right now, and at night. So
And you're still having people over today because you're like, you know what? If I'm gonna be sick, everyone's gonna be.
no, I was kind of thinking of canceling game night. But I'd at least tell everybody that I am if sick if I don't because I am thoughtful like that. Thank you.
You better not cancel.
Oh, now the threats come. Okay.
I will be so mad.
Would you?
Although it's not. I mean, it's not like Brandon's gonna be there, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. But still.
Yeah, if Brandon's not there, then it doesn't matter at all. So yeah,
Well, I mean, the main reason we play is for his story, and
I know
since
D&D.
yeah,
For those of you who are listening, we are definitely big into D&D, though we don't play
yeah,
it as often as we would like.
just so everyone who may not have been aware before is aware now, we are gigantic nerds.
Yes, hugely.
Yeah.
All right. So
So
what were you gonna
go
say?
ahead.
You go. You go. I'm
You
stopping you now.
go. No,
So I was just gonna say, you ready to jump into some dream talk?
absolutely.
All right. So I thought, maybe today we could start out with, since last time we jumped into theories first, um, we could start out with, what got us into dreams or earliest childhood dreams. I don't know, it seemed like a good second thing to talk about.
Okay.
So, what are your
So
early dreams?
I I guess really the the point at which I got really interested in dreams actually happened when I was probably 9 or 10. I remember we had just moved to a new town, and obviously there was a girl, right?
Of course,
This
there's always
and
a girl.
yeah, and I just remember like I had this crush on her, and then I had a dream that her and I had gone to see a movie, and I hugged her in the dream, and I remember she used to have this leather jacket. I remember the feeling of like the leather jacket in the dream, and
Okay.
then when I woke up, I was like, "Wow, that was crazy," And then I was talking to other people about it, and they were like, "You're not really supposed to be able to feel things." And I was like, "Well, I did." So there was a part of me that was like, maybe that was real. And then, of course, I spiraled, but the way a 9 or 10-year-old spirals, So it
Yeah.
wasn't crazy, crazy. It was just a little crazy. That
That's
was.
interesting.
Oh, go
It's
ahead. I
interesting
was just
that
gonna say that was the first real dream I remember being super into dreams about.
ah, that is interesting that people said you're not supposed to feel things in your dream. So I've not only felt things, not just like sensations of like falling, but like objects, but also I've tasted things.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good thing where like people say that you're not supposed to be able to feel those kind of sensations, right? But like when you absolutely do have that sensation in your dream and you can wake up with that memory, it's amazing. Like people also say you're not supposed to really recognize faces in your dream,
Yeah.
but I do all the time.
Oh my God, about that. I had meant to tell you during our first podcast, but I I recorded this in my audio recorder dream journal that I got going on. I only have like maybe not even a dozen dreams in there yet, but still, I recorded this because we were just talking about it, so I guess that's why it was fresh in my mind. I think it was like after a game night, we were talking about people. You're not supposed to see each other's faces, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Other people's faces. Well, I guess that was fresh on my mind because that night I dreamt of sitting at a table. Okay,
Mhm.
it felt like my kitchen table almost, and there were people across from me. Dang, I wish I could pull up the recording of the stream so that we could live react to it. But anyways, there were people across from me, and I remember going through like different people were sitting across from me, and there were people that I recognized at the time of the dream. Like there weren't any strangers or anything. I remember recognizing them, like knowing who they are. I was as people were changing from me across the table. At one point, tried to look directly at one of their faces, and
Mhm.
they didn't say anything and I didn't say anything. I just felt like a negative aura coming at me because and then I asked them who are you? I
Yeah.
think that was one of our talks is trying to if we tried to figure out in our dreams who the people are in our dreams, then they would get pissed.
Yeah,
Did
there
we
was
say that?
there was a TikTok that I think I had talked about how we're like I think this was at game night. I don't think this was during the last podcast, but if you try to ask like people's names or if you try to ask like what time it is or what the day is or anything like that, they get like really upset and like will almost completely shut down.
Yeah, I want to say, and it sucks because I'm not sure I'm remembering this correctly. If I could pull up the recording, I might just experiment with this later, Dustin, but I'm pretty sure I asked them the question, asked them like, "Who
Mhm.
are you?" before I felt the anger, just the
Yeah,
aura of negativity, and it freaked me out so much that I woke up.
I don't blame you. Um, After I heard that, I was like, man, I really want to be able to like lucid dream because I want to be able to ask people in my dreams about what time it is or whatever and just see the reaction that I get.
Yeah.
I personally have been able to lucid dream. Um, one of the weirdest sensations that I get in my dream is a sensation that I know someone, even though like I don't recognize them. Like I could perfectly describe what they look like in a dream,
Yeah.
But when I wake up, I'm like, who that person was, you
Oh
know.
my God,
But
I've had
I
the same thing happen.
in detail could tell you what they look like. But
Yeah.
in the dream, I felt like I had known them my entire life. Like they were so familiar to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
Or
had that
or
sensation before too.
or even having like a dream where someone feels like someone else in a dream. Like there was this one time that I had a dream, again, a girl, um,
Of course.
who I had seen, and she reminded me of this specific girl. And in the dream, it was just her, but like it wasn't her face, but I knew it was her. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense because it's a little vague. I know.
Kind of. It's kind of striking some
Yes,
clues to me.
it's a really bizarre feeling to like wake up and be like, well, that definitely felt like so and so, but looking back on it, that didn't look like so and so.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah. I've had
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
And about lucid dreaming. I'd love to do a whole segment on that in our
Yeah.
podcast because I used to frequently actually. Here's my story, my end of the story, and how I got into dreaming. It started with lucid dreaming. Um,
Really?
it yes, because I remember being a little kid. Okay, this is when I first like one of the first dreams I remember, and it stands out because I talked to my mom about it, and so I remember dreaming as a little kid. I was like, I want to say not even 10, where I dreamt I was in a candy land of sorts, where there was like a giant cake that kids were jumping on, and there were tall candy cane trees, and there was a giant pool of Jello
Oh,
that kids swam in. Like, do you remember that one movie, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
yeah, absolutely.
That came out years and years and years later after this dream, but it's exactly like that, where you could swim in the yellow Jello, uh, just like in that movie. And for some reason in this Candyland, there were bushes with pillows growing on them where kids were sleeping on top of. I thought that was
Oh,
so
okay.
cool too. Anyways, I woke up and I told my mom all about this dream, and I was very sad because I wanted to dream it again. Like I really, really wanted to dream it again. And
Yeah.
my mom told me if you try hard enough, if you go to sleep with thinking about it in your mind, it could happen again. Like if you try to dream hard enough again, you can make it happen. I'm not sure she fully believed that I could do this or that it
Mm,
could be done. I think she might have been just you know, comforting me as a small child. Like, oh, my poor baby. But
yeah.
anyways, I tried my damnedest the next night to dream that dream, and I did. And in that dream, I knew that it was a dream.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it was like one of my reoccurring was this Candyland that I got to explore, knowing that it was a dream.
That's interesting. So something we have in common is maybe not recurring dreams exactly, but recurring places in dreams,
Okay.
or like a continuing theme.
Yeah.
Um, I've had dreams over multiple nights that were strung together almost like a movie. Um, and it was so bizarre to me at the time because, I had never dreamed like that before, but I would, you know, go to bed, have this dream, wake up, be like, wow, that was crazy. And then the next night, be like, oh, I'm back in the same spot. But I wouldn't recognize that it was a dream until after I woke up, you know.
Interesting.
I don't know if you want to get into details on some of those now, or if you want to wait until another episode. But
Um,
I definitely
you could,
what?
yeah. I'm definitely interested to hear because I'm not sure I've ever dreamed like that where it's like a continuation of a movie. Unless it was the same night where I just woke up that night and then fell back asleep. Then it was a continuation of that dream, but not like a whole day in between.
Oh yeah, no, it'll go on for weeks sometimes. The one that really stands out was this is probably because I was watching too much Walking Dead at the time, but it was definitely a zombie apocalypse thing.
Okay.
And like it started off, I was during a day. There was cars everywhere, and inside the cars you could see like skeletons and things like that. And there was this one bit I remember distinctly having to crawl through this car and over some like dead bodies and stuff to get to the other side and get down this embankment. And I get to the other side, I go down the embankment, and then I woke up. Right.
Yeah.
But the next night, what I dreamed was I had gotten to this house. It's the same story. We're still in the zombie apocalypse, and I walked up to the house. I went inside. It was nighttime now, and I got up to the third floor of this house, and I had a rifle that I was aiming out the window, and I was staring down this highway, watching zombies as they would walk up, and I was
Yeah.
picking them off from the third story window.
No, yeah, that major Walking Dead vibes.
Yeah, yeah. Then like after a while, I had to get up and get more ammo. That was when I woke up there. And then the next night, I had decided to leave the house, and so I got back on the road, and I went down to like this convenience store, and I was like pulling supplies and stuff off of the shelves. It was absolutely bizarre because I woke up like the next day going, man, this is the most fun I've ever had in my dream.
Because yeah, it sounds like a ton of fun, especially if you don't mind the horror going on around you. I remember you
Well,
telling
see,
me
and
that you enjoy your horror dreams.
yeah, I do like most of them. Most of them. There, there are two exceptions that we'll talk about when we talk about like really scary stuff in dreams.
Yeah.
Um, one of them inspired me to go back to church. So
Oh
we'll
man.
we'll we'll talk about that one. So you've never had like the continuation dreams?
No, I can't say I have in like over a period of days or weeks like that. No. That's interesting.
Yeah, I everybody I've talked to has said that was kind of strange, but you know, given that you had so many similarities with the way that I dream, I thought maybe
Hmm.
this would be something you would go through too.
Nope, you're all alone in that, man. You're the only one in the whole
Yeah,
world.
apparently. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I could say the same thing maybe for the continuation of a dream throughout the night, not the whole day, but
Yeah.
that's where the similarity stops right there.
I'll I'll say when I heard your Candyland thing, I was like, okay, that sounds cool, but like I would probably get bored in the Candyland.
Yeah.
Um
Oh,
also
I get that.
like
There were many other dreams I lucid dreamed for.
we'll talk about that in just a minute because I want to hear more about that. But the
Okay.
Candyland thing, I all of my dreams have been more grounded in reality. Not uh, Definitely not real because obviously we haven't gone through a zombie apocalypse.
Right.
Um, but definitely more grounded in like real things, not
So have mine. So have mine, like recently, in the last several,
recently.
yeah, in the last several months. How did you mean reality? Did you mean like it was logical?
No, but it's like not super fantastical. Like oh, the trees have pillows and things like
No.
that. Like it's all
Yeah.
real world stuff. And I mean, obviously, aside from zombies or ghosts and stuff like that, um, there is another. Well, I'll save that dream until we have the horror podcast. Um, but there's another one that is a little bit outside of like, oh my god, you know.
Um, okay. Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing that. But yeah, I want to say maybe not even in the last several months, maybe in the last several years, my dreams have been more grounded in reality too. Like I wake up and they make logical sense. Like,
Yeah.
just recently I had a dream where I was still working at the high school, but I found out from my principal and my instructional coach, or one of my no, I don't want I forget her title, but I found out from one of the administrators that I was being moved, or they were at least they were asking me to move to the middle school in the within the
Mhm.
district because they had someone who applied to be an English one teacher, which I am right now, with better credentials. She was like a
Oh,
yeah, it was either at least a reading specialist or a librarian tech specialist. I don't know, but it was a credential I didn't have and that they wanted at the school. And I found out that like well, I was going to accept, out of just just gracefully I would automatically accept. But afterwards, um
mhm.
I found out that my principal was gunning for this other person to be hired at the high school. The administrators were, and also my English one teammates, like my teacher friends, were like, "We want this other lady here. We want her to work here. It would
Oh
make our school."
no.
I know it would make our school look better. So, thank you so much, Tasha, for taking this job at the middle school. And I was just like devastated, devastated.
Everyone, everyone turned on you in your dream.
Yeah, and I was so sad, especially because, and I've been looking forward to this almost my whole life, um, or at least Alice's whole life, um, because next year, she's gonna be at the high school with me. She's gonna be a ninth grader, and I teach ninth grade. So I mean, I'm not gonna be her teacher because she takes honors classes because she's a smarty pants, but she was gonna be at the high school with me, which I looked forward to. I just love the idea of working in the same campus that my children will go to. And it's just been one of my lifelong goals to be working at the same campus as my kids,
Yeah.
at a campus that I could be proud of. And like, I was just devastated because I wasn't going to get to be with her throughout her high school journey. Like, I was going to be moved back to the middle school, you know, I had to go to the eighth grade. And so in my dream, I was setting up in my new classroom at the middle school campus. And I was just crying the whole time. And I woke up crying and I fell asleep crying. And I woke up really sad until I shook it off and remembered. I shook it off and remembered, okay, so this is a dream. But now I'm kind of like I was low key kind of wanting to make sure my position at the high school is secured. So I actually want to go back into my like my online contract and see if my contract's being renewed.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awful, but totally plausible because that could happen.
So I have a couple of questions. Um,
Okay. Shoot.
this is going to get psychological here. Okay.
Oh
Um,
man.
do you think that the dream could have stemmed from your fear, that the dream that you have of being able to teach in the same campus that Alice is attending? Do you think that the dream stems from that fear of like not being able to do that,
Mm-hmm.
or
Absolutely.
B, do you think it stems from the fact that you know that nobody likes you?
No, no. I worry about that. Like, I worry about that. As it's like, do my teacher friends actually value me? Like, that's one of my
Do you really?
biggest fears.
I was
Yeah.
being funny.
Were you?
Um,
No, that's legitimately one of my stresses.
yeah. Well, I apologize. I don't know if your teacher friends uh, like you or
No,
not.
it's okay. I know that's how you meant it. So
I I know two of them seem to like you. Um, I can tell you that I don't
oh,
like you. No, I'm just kidding.
thanks, Dustin. No, I know you're joking. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, it uh, it is. And like this goes back to the theories we were talking about. Like maybe it's one of the things that's preparing me for what might happen. Maybe it's back to that dream theory from the first
Yeah.
podcast. Or maybe it's one of those things I react to emotionally in the real world, and so it carries over into my dreams. Yeah, it's one of those things. What's interesting though
Yeah.
is the campuses in that dream, they were like high rises. We were in the city. So it wasn't like
Oh,
my real campus.
yeah. That's
That was
that's
weird.
definitely not like where you are now.
Yeah, it was
Quite
more
the
like
opposite.
exactly, and more it felt like a hospital kind of vibe-ish. But that was the only thing that didn't seem as logical.
Speaking of dreams that are grounded in reality and that maybe stem from an insecurity, I've been having a recurring dream recently. It has to do with my car, uh, because my car is what I use for my job. I have this dream that like I come outside and not only are all of my tires flat,
Oh
but
no.
all of the rims are bent at weird angles.
Oh
And I'm
shit.
like, that's going to cost way too much money to fix. I don't have that kind of money. And I start freaking out.
Oh
So,
man.
uh, and usually at that point, I'd wake up in a cold sweat, like, oh my God,
Oh man.
how am I ever going to pay for that? Like, luckily, I get over it quick enough that I don't like run to the window and check on my car.
I mean, I would.
Yeah, believe me, I've thought about it. I was like, no, it was just a dream. It was just a dream. Yeah.
I've checked out things after I dreamt about them before too. Like my mom, even, she's had dreams before where she felt like one of her brothers were in trouble. And when she called she called to make sure. And sometimes they were in trouble. I think, in fact, I want to say most, if not all times they were.
That's interesting. My mom actually has a story like that with I think her mom and or no, it wasn't her mom. I think it was her aunt. She had a dream about her daughter. Her daughter wound up dying that night,
Oh
and
no.
yeah, it was. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring everybody down there for a second, but yeah,
Yeah, no. That's awful, man.
um, yeah, my mom told me, and I was like, wow, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned this briefly in the first podcast where
Mm,
we talk a little bit more about how I felt like sometimes my dreams are what's the word?
Premonitionish.
Yeah, premonitions. That's what I wanted to say, but I was like, that's not a word, Tasha. Um,
It's not a word, but it is now.
yeah, you made it a word. It's a word now. So, premonition-ish for sure. And that's why I get pretty scared with my bad dreams because I'm always like, is this a bad omen? Or is this like a warning? I always ask
Yeah.
myself that if I have like some kind of bad thing happen in my dreams.
Going back over some of my old dreams, I've actually discovered a couple of dreams that felt like premonitions, and only one that has had some kind of bearing on something in the real world. And we'll talk about those whenever we get to in the
Yeah.
podcast.
So back to the lucid dreams you were curious about as a young
Okay.
child that I had. A couple of them included, or there's several that stand out. Like one of them is exploring a large house with many different secret hidden doors and like behind cabinets and behind other hidden doors and just climbing up random stairs and finding another hidden door. Um, that was one of my recurring dreams as a little kid, is exploring a house with a lot of different doors.
Yeah.
That's all I remember of that one. So it wasn't very like impactful. It was just interesting.
What's
Um,
to me about that is in dreams, doors kind of represent a barrier to things that you don't know, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, I think in dreams, there's a whole thing about doors being like, if they're closed, that means that you're trying to reveal something.
Oh,
If the door is open, then it's like that's something that you already know, but you're not ready to face yet,
interesting.
or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there's
haven't psychoanalyzed this dream yet. So, yeah, that is interesting. And now I want to look up other theories on doors and dreams because that was just like endless doors.
yeah, I love looking at like what people interpret dreams to mean, because I have so many weird dreams that don't fit into any of those categories, and I'm like that definitely doesn't mean that. So
Okay, so one of my other recurring dreams that I lucid dream, and that was a lucid dream, by the way. I knew I was dreaming when I was exploring those doors. Another recurring dream that was lucid dreaming for me, which I always tried to redream, was like a tiny kid's town. So as a kid, I went to a place like in the real world, my parents took me to a place called Kids Town. And it
mhm.
was just like this giant warehouse sized space with a bunch of different play places for kids. But it was like different stations. Like there was like a little construction zone station that kids could play with blocks and build up a little, like a tiny little house. And there was like a restaurant station where kids could serve food to people. And since then, this place is closed down, but there have been many others made that are similar to this kids' town that I went to. So in my dream, I guess that was on my mind when I dreamt this dream. I was in a real town, but it was miniature sized, and it was only kids, and we were all playing.
Okay.
So I dreamt I was just playing house essentially in a mini sized house, and I knew it was a house, and I got to explore different houses and play with other kids who were also playing house.
That gives me an idea for like a story, because like I think about like, what if you weren't dreaming? What if you were actually astral projecting with other
Other
children, right?
kids. Oh my gosh,
And
yeah.
y'all were
That
all
would make
meeting in this little place.
that would make a damn good story. And I
Yeah.
also like child, I didn't wonder about that specific dream specifically, but it was for other dreams. I wondered because I would dream about some of my friends sometimes, or even some of my
Mhm.
crushes as a young child. And I
Mhm.
wonder, like, are they dreaming with me? Like, can they see me in this? Like, are they dreaming too?
Yeah.
I always wondered that. Yeah, that would make a
That
damn good
thought
book.
doesn't cross my mind.
In your dreams?
In my dreams, yes.
It might if you lucid dreamed.
Maybe. That thought only hits me in the real world. Well, I'm like, can people hear what I'm thinking?
You never know. You told me about that where you,
Yeah.
whenever you're just insulting somebody, you,
In
what
my
do you
head,
do? Uh-huh.
in my head, if I immediately make a snap judgment and insult someone and they're close enough, I will immediately think a positive thought about them, just in case. This is going to make me sound super crazy.
You sound very crazy. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, that makes kind of sense. So I always like I wouldn't say a compliment. I wouldn't go that far, but I would wonder, can they hear what I'm thinking? Like occasionally.
Yeah. Well, because, like, I guess I've seen too many movies. You know what I mean? Seen
Uh-huh.
too many movies, read too many things. And it's just like, well, what if, though? You know?
You never know.
And this, I'm a real jerkwad. Maybe they get in the car and I'm like, oh, look at this person's nose. Gah. And then I'm like, oh, well, it's not that bad, actually. At least they have good eyebrows. Something like that, right? Because then they hear it and they're like, "Oh, my eyebrows are on point."
That makes sense. Okay, so one other dream that I remember lucid dreaming for as a young child that was recurring was swimming. I would dream that I was at a swimmer's hole, like a swimming hole, but it was like a literal hole um
Okay,
in rock, and you could jump down below into a pool of water. So I,
like
I
a
would dream that.
quarry or like a really small hole.
Like I guess like a quarry. It was large. When you jump, it
Okay,
was the hole was maybe the size of our living room ish. You could jump down into the hole, and the pool was very, very large, much larger than I remember, much larger than I can comprehend. Because I would once I jumped into the hole, which other people were also jumping into to have fun. Um, I would explore the surrounding area of sea. Like I would explore underwater. So like in my dream, um, I knew it was a dream, and I knew I couldn't breathe underwater in real life, but in my dream I was really smug about um being able to not have to go up and get oxygen for air. So I would just stay underwater for however long I wanted to and explore the ocean, essentially, the ocean of my brain, I guess.
damn. All right.
So that was interesting.
And
Why I
you knew
did
you
that.
were dreaming the whole time.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild to me.
And sometimes I would fly up out of the water. And I knew since I'm dreaming, why don't I just go ahead and fly? Time to fly.
Oh, I fly a lot in my dreams, but I like in my dream, I'm just like, obviously you can do this. This is just that's how this is. Like, like can't everybody do this? You just gotta start off this way, and then boom, there you go.
Yeah, but you don't know you're dreaming, is what you're saying. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah, because in my dream, like dream logic, me is like, yeah, everybody can do this. You just have to do it this way.
That's
And
so
everybody
weird.
else is like, that's not a thing we can do. And I'm like, yes, you can.
Stupid.
You just never learned. That's all. Sometimes it gets so bad that like I wake up and I'm like, I think I can do this.
I don't think I ever thought I could do that. I did wake up wishing really hard that I could, but nope,
Yeah,
never.
it's almost as bad as me wishing I had the force or telekinesis.
Hey, okay. So that's one of the things that might make me sound crazy. So occasionally I do check and see and make sure that I'm not like the next Matilda. And that I
I do it
that I
all the time too.
especially when I'm feeling like I don't want to get up and grab this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, if I could just develop telekinesis right now, be super convenient.
Exactly. So I do like spend a minute or two trying to check.
Oh, I've
Just
spent
make
an
sure.
hour.
No, that's crazy.
Just be like, all right, my soda's way over there. Come to me. just, just hold out my hand, like
For a whole hour.
really concentrate.
Sweating.
Try to like try to like envision it lifting up off the table and flying toward me.
Yeah, I've done that. Just
That
not for
and
an hour.
then I open my eyes and it's still sitting there. I'm like, damn it, you're weak. You can do this.
You just have to believe.
Uh, yeah, I might need to see someone about that.
About?
About my weird, crazy things that I do.
Nah. Sound completely normal.
I'm sure the therapist would agree. Yeah, no, those are completely normal. Everyone's there for an hour trying to lift something with his mind, or
Surely.
or thinks good thoughts about people just in case they can hear his thoughts.
Surely you're not the only one.
Surely, but we call those other people schizophrenics. Well, to close it out, do we want to do more literary recommendations, or do we want to do some other type of recommendation today?
Literary.
All right. Since I went first last time, you go first this time.
Okay, so I would like to recommend. I actually haven't thought of anything. So this is on the fly. The on the fly recommendation is the Jean M. Clan of the Cave Bear series. That was one of my first favorite books that I read that was a series. And I remember reading it in high school. It was my mom's favorite book series. After I read it once in high school, I read it again. Read the whole series again. I think right now it's 5 books, but it used to be only 4. But yeah, especially if you're into what's it called? Who are the people who study other people?
Scientists.
But from back in the day, not archaeologists. But if you're into studying like social structures of people from way back in the caveman era.
I think you're thinking of anthropology.
Thank you. Anthropology. The author herself has done a lot of really good research to pull these books together, and it's not it's kind of like it's not completely fiction because there are some magical elements in it. So if you're interested in that time period and an accurate portrayal of human development back then and a love story, Clan of the Cave Bear series, and
All
archaeology. Right. Archaeology? No, what's the word again?
Anthropology.
Thank you.
Anthropology. All
Okay,
right. Well, my rec is going to be the Renegade Star series, which I believe is also 10 books. J.N. Chaney is the author. I personally went through the audiobooks just like I did with the Iron Druid Chronicles. They're actually narrated by the same guy. Let me look and see what his name is real quick. Luke Daniels is the narrator. Brilliant narrator. It's a sci-fi action comedy, futuristic thing. If you're into crazy explosions and interesting dialogue, check it out.
Sweet. All right. Well, there you have it. Our sacred podcast. Our sacred second podcast of What Am Dreams, our very serious podcast.
What Am Dreams, where we make up words like premonitionish.
Premonitionish. We are so smart. We are so smart. Thank you for listening. I forgot to say this last time. Thank you for listening.
Like and subscribe, comment below.
Okay. So bye.
All right.